As we began the 2021 school year, we put many safety precautions in place for students and staff. We marked our hallways to keep students to one side. We spread out eating spaces and included the use of our gymnasium for lunch. We maximized the spacing between student desks in all of our classrooms. Some of our areas presented a bit more of a challenge. These areas are music, art, and our career technical areas, which include business, culinary, and tech ed.
So we're following the state guidelines in Addendum 7, which mandate that we have to be spread out 6 feet apart and then actually 9 feet front to back. So I've got the first row of students here that, they're spaced 6 feet apart, and then the next row there's 9 feet in between. So there's that, and then we also can only sing for a maximum of 30 minutes indoors. So with choir, we do all of our singing at the end of the period so that we can just do it for the last 30 minutes of class, and then everybody leaves and the air can clear and recirculate.
Our current safety regulations for instrumental music here in Bolton follow the state and national guidelines. In the band room, you can see that we have moved everything into a 6x9 grid, including percussion instruments. In order to actually play our instruments, students have to follow a few guidelines. Number one, we wear masks while we're playing. The masks have been modified by adding a slit in them so that the mouthpieces can fit into the mask. So the students wear the masks while playing. Number two, all of the instruments have bell covers on them. The bell covers include 2 layers of black material, and within them there's a layer of MERV 13 fabric, so it filters down to an appropriate micron level to mitigate the spread of any potential virus. Number 3, we've moved our rehearsals into the commons because of spacing requirements. In order to play inside, students must be at least 12 feet apart from each other. We also have time requirements or time limitations on our rehearsal. So we're allowed to play for 30 minutes at a time, and after that we need to provide for a 20-minute rest or air recycle period, and then you can begin to play again.
Our one-to-one Chromebook program has worked out very well this fall. However, some of our courses still require the use of personal computers with specific software to support individual courses. Our maintenance team was able to fabricate plywood barriers to keep our children safe as they worked at these computers. Our staff was also trained to use the correct sanitizer and procedures to make sure that keyboards and mice are sanitized between students' use. Our art room presented some additional challenges as well. We fabricated barriers in those spaces, but our instructors also made use of a slightly different strategy to support students during the pandemic.
The majority of materials that students have are at home. Students have been inspired to put together their own home studios. The school has provided them with individual kits of materials in which to put into these studios, and long-term projects are completed at home.
So obviously our main concern at this point is making sure that the students are safe. And so one of the things that we do, we always focus on safety and sanitation, but we're focusing even more so during our pandemic. So students will clean and sanitize areas that they use before and afterwards. In addition, we have special markers so that we could have the students spaced out, ideally 6 feet, so that students are not in direct contact with each other. And lastly, we use gloves, and so more or less we are doing things contactless in terms of food preparation.
In technology education, students are able to utilize various programs in any given class. For example, students can use programs like Chief Architect in class or Google SketchUp and other CAD programs from home. In computer-aided design or CAD class, students were able to download a free student version of SolidWorks to run at home on their own PC. If a student wasn't able to run SolidWorks on their computer, programs like Onshape are available to run on Chromebook in order to achieve the same results.